coming to you from an unknown location, at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, bringing you the unknown. Welcome to another spine-tingling episode of Paranormal 411. Your hosts are David Reagan and Jason Scott, and together, they dive headfirst into the mysteries that lurk just beyond our understanding, featuring notable experts ready to share their insights into the world of the strange and unknown. So pull up a chair, pour a cup of something warm, and prepare to be enthralled. Here at Paranormal 411, we're not just a radio show, we're a community of truth seekers, adventurers of the mind, exploring the boundaries of the known and unknown. We invite you to join us, to share your thoughts, your experiences, your questions. Whether you've had your own encounter with the supernatural or you're simply intrigued by the inexplicable, we want to hear from you. So, don't be shy. Drop a comment and let's unravel the mysteries of the universe together. Buckle up as we journey beyond the veil of the ordinary, into the heart of the extraordinary. This is Paranormal 411, where the inexplicable meets reality and imagination takes flight. Stay tuned and remember, in the world of the paranormal, nothing is as it seems.
All right.
Woo.
Welcome, peoples.
Welcome, everybody. And, normally this would be our third show of the week, but we've had a lot of things going on. We had to move studios.
Yes.
We're in a much bigger place now.
Can you hear the echo? Woo, woo.
I don't think so.
No,
I don't think it comes through on the mic, but this is a big place.
Yeah.
You could barely see to the other side.
You have to put your glasses on.
Yeah.
We got Roger Bob, too, on the microphone.
Roger's here today with us.
What's up? I just walked in the room and said, get your headphones on.
You better make sure you're going to be able to be here for 2 hours.
There ain't no peeing for 2 hours.
That's it.
Yeah, we got a good show tonight. We got Brooks and maybe Matt, if he joins us from the Smokies Unforgotten Spirits.
Yes. It's going to be a great show tonight.
Yes, it is.
Remember, you can find us at paranormal411.org, Paranormal 411 on Facebook, YouTube, and X. You could also tune in live every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and on Saturdays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Also, remember, every Saturday, 10 to 11, if you're in the metro Atlanta area, you catch us on WDJY FM. That's 99.1 FM. And for listeners outside of the Atlanta area, it's all right. You can still listen too. You can go to WDJYFM.com or you go to paranormal411.org and click the link. We're also on Subspace Radio and all major podcast platforms. Let me reach over here. Don't miss our new book. It's awesome. East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore Edition 2. Now it's available on Amazon, or you can go to paranormal411.org and buy the book. Remember, that's East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore Edition 2. It's an awesome book. They're flying off the shelves too, I'll tell you. But hey, please remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, like us, share us. And above all else, join us.
Subscribe. Yeah. So, like I said, we got Brooks and maybe Matt from the Smokies Unforgotten Spirits. They are the dynamic duo behind the Smokies Unforgotten Spirits investigations, right?
Yeah, we had a little talk with them when we was at the Bigfoot Festival or Bigfoot conference, actually, not the festival. And there's some pretty exciting things that happened.
Yeah. They're based in Sevierville, Tennessee, with a deep-rooted fascination for the unexplained. They have dedicated themselves to exploring the haunted corners of the Smoky Mountains. Their passion for unraveling mysteries and connecting with the other side has made them a recognized force in the paranormal community. So we got Brooks with us. We're going to bring him on.
There he is.
How you doing, Brooks?
How you doing?
Doing good. How are y'all doing?
Doing good. Hopefully you had a good weekend so far.
Oh yeah, we just got off the work weekend, so I
Yeah.
start my
Oh,
3-day
nice.
weekend now.
Nice. I'll have to go back Monday. So will Jason.
Actually, I got to go back tonight.
Oh, you do. You got to go do inventory,
Yeah,
don't you?
inventory.
Jason will be there
Yeah.
at 3:00 in the morning. Chicken butts.
So tell us a little bit about your team and what all you guys do.
Oh well, basically we're if Matt was here, we would be two friends that we didn't know we shared the love for the paranormal as we did, and we used to work together. And the one day we came up and we are like, we should just start a ghost team, and that's kind of how it started. And then we kind of our first outing was Brushy Mountain. So we
Oh.
went and did a bit of investigation. We had no idea what we were doing. We had like very minimal equipment. We bought a cheap camera, a cheap EMF, and a cheap spirit box, and we went out and got nothing. and then ever since, we kind of learned from other teams in the area and got invited to some places and learned some techniques. And ever since then, we've been getting a lot more things happen, I guess is the correct thing to say.
Right. So, what got you guys into doing it?
Uh,
What
he-
made you have that love for the paranormal?
I've always had an interest in it. Growing up, I was always a gravedigger with my father, and we took care of a few cemeteries and an old school that was haunted. And for Matt, he's always had like a special gift of seeing spirits, so his love was always there as a child, also.
That sounds like me. I've seen them my whole life too. So it started with me that I could remember at the age of 3. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That's
see
awesome.
nothing.
I'm getting there. Like I see nothing. He'll say, be like, "Oh yeah, do you see that person sitting there?" And I'm like, "No."
I see stuff through the equipment, but I don't have that gift. I probably have it, but
I think everybody's got it.
yeah.
I just think a lot of
Learning how to use it.
yes.
right.
Well,
I think I forgot how to use it.
I think some people, I think everybody's born with it. I just think that some people don't continually use it, so then it's just lost. It doesn't mean that you can't get it back, but I think that it's it's lurking back there saying, "Hey, dig me out of the closet."
Or you're trying too hard to see something.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, as a 3-year-old kid, it's scary. So I had to get a little bit older before it wasn't scary anymore.
That's kind of how I was. I lived in my parents' house until I was 18, and there would be this one thing that would terrify me up until that point.
So tell us about some of them, some of your experiences.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll start it off with the personal experience. So basically, and it all started when I kind of had like a sleep paralysis almost. So every time I would wake up, I would go to the bathroom, and the way my house is a long hallway, and you come out my door, and my parents' room is straight ahead, the bathroom's right to the right, and a long hallway to the living room about 20 feet. And every time I would come out my door, I would see it in my peripheral and look, and it was almost like a big white cloud of almost like a tumbleweed, like sprinting towards me or like rolling towards me, and it would always startle me. And every single night for 18 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, about 18 years. And but I always described it when I was little as like a very small white gorilla, because that was just the first thing that came in my head. So I would always tell my parents, I'm like, yeah, the white gorilla chased me, or my little dog Wiggle, and they're like, Wiggle's in the crate, and I was like, cool. But that's something that I've always would see, and certain days I would wake up and my room would be like a tint of blue or a tint of red, and then I would see a black like figure of something that looked like my grandmother, but it would have like piercing red eyes, and I would blink, rub my eyes, wouldn't go away, and then I would stand up and it would vanish. And that's only happened like once or twice, but it's weird because my grandmother is still alive to this day. So it was very
Sounds like
it,
a shadow person is what it sounds like.
it's what it sounds like, but it's never really done anything other than show itself in my room. And I
Right.
haven't seen it. I would say I haven't seen it since 2016, 2015.
Right.
But
Hmm.
I've also been moved out since about then.
That's interesting.
So I know you showed us a video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that video.
You getting yanked.
Oh
yeah,
yes.
you think about can you set that up and tell it?
Try how would be the best way to set this up. So we go to this one schoolhouse in the national park here in Tennessee, the Great Smoky Mountains, and it's an old schoolhouse, and we go here often. We've had a lot of experiences here. We've had a lot of things that we might not be cryptids. Like we think we've had a Bigfoot encounter. There, our spirit box has said there are 7 boogers in the woods, and they're always, you can hear them walking in the woods, but you can never see them, obviously. So we can't be like, oh yeah, we got a Bigfoot. This is what we have. No, we can't really say that's what we have. But you hear them moving, they walk in a circle around the school the whole time. And spirit box is like, oh, there's 7 boogers. Don't go down to the woods. Don't go down there. It's a big monster, big monster. And so we'll have stuff like that happen. We've had a lot of knocks, a lot of cries in the woods, a lot of screaming. We've heard crying in the attic of that place. So it's a lot that goes on there. And the more we go, the more activity happens there. So the one night I wasn't feeling the greatest, and I was like, I'm gonna lay down on this bench. And it on the spirit box was saying, hey, you're in my seat, move. And I was like, if you want me to move, you're gonna have to move me. I was like, let's see if this is actually happening or not. And sure enough, I felt something grab the way I was laying, my right thigh and my right arm, and it pulled me off of the bench, and I flew about 3-4 feet straight off.
Yeah.
And I hit the ground hard. And of course, the first time this happened, the camera was in the back and you couldn't really see it. So, but they were looking at me. I had to pull my pant leg down. I had a big scratch going down from about the mid side of my thigh all the way down to about above my knee, and I had a handprint on my arm. And we did a little bit more investigating. I was getting scratched for the rest of the night. I had a long scratch that went down my chest. I had 2 scratches on my side, and I had 1 down my back.
Wow.
But
what do you think it was?
Honestly, I just think it was an angry spirit.
Yeah.
I was in a seat, obviously. We sat there, talked about it. Like I said, I wasn't feeling good. There was a lot going on that night that I wasn't entirely sure what was going on. We brought a lot of new people that aren't really believers in this field, and what they described to me was almost like they saw a black-eyed kid. I mean, he walked right up to the door, and he was looking in the crack. There's like a little gap in between the door, and he looked in and he jumped back. He screamed, and we're like, "What? What's going on?" And he's like, "I saw a small person, pale white face, pitch black eyes, and it looked like they were wearing like a hood or had something over their head." And I looked at Matt, and I was like, "BEK?" And he goes, "That's what I was thinking." He goes, "What's that? What's that?" And I said, "We'll tell you later. It's fine." We're okay.
Did it come in?
It did not. Me and Matt personally didn't see it. Now our spirit box was constantly going off saying, "Welcome, welcome us, let us in, welcome us," or stuff like that. Which is, I've heard it. I've heard the stories of like this is a physical thing, and you can hear them out loud. We
Yes.
didn't hear that, but it was coming through our spirit box, so we were still as creeped out as we were.
Well, I mean, with something like that, why couldn't it also be, if you're not personally at the door or at whatever, why couldn't they come through, say, the spirit box and ask for that permission the same as they would if you walked up to the door and them ask you, like what BEKs usually do?
Yeah, it was very weird, and it opened up the doors to a lot of things that we've had. And there's a trail there that if it's a mile, 1.2 or 1.3 miles there, 1.3 miles back, there's a cabin back there. And we've walked to that cabin in the night a few times. In that cabin, they were known cannibals in the area during the Depression. They were the
Mm.
last family to ever live in the Smoky Mountains, and they were known cannibals in the area. But ever since we've walked to this cabin and walked back, things were starting to happen. We heard something following us on the way back, and it was mimicking an owl really badly, like a very bad owl impression. It was like I gave it a 1 out of 10 stars. Like it was awful.
Don't recommend, huh?
No.
Was it going whoo whoo?
Yeah, it was more
Boo.
like voice cracking and hooing, and it was weird. But
That's
you
crazy.
heard something walking alongside of us on this trip back the whole time, and it would come up behind us, and you shine the light back, and you hear it just kind of go down into the drop off, and it would come back up, go in front of us about 50, 60 yards. You would hear it on the gravel, and then climb up the hillside, and then it come back down. And it just kind of circled us. When we got back to the school, you heard it circle, and ever since that day, that's when the circling started. And it would
Mm.
just slowly circle, and you hear it footstep. It sounds bipedal. So
Hmm.
it's okay, it's mimicking an owl. If we go to another story of the one night, it was the day before Matt got married. We went on what we call a bachelor party ghost hunt. And we were sitting there, and the spirit box said, "There's a booger in the woods, Brooks." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
okay." I said, "What's the booger?" I know what Appalachian lore is of
mhm,
what a booger is, but I want to know what they say it is.
right.
And they're like, "It's a monster." And I said, "Okay, I said, "Okay, is it a dog?" No. Okay. Is it a Mothman? No. I said, "Is it a person?" No. I said, "Is it Bigfoot?" And all it came up was hee hee, just laughed.
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Okay." I said, "We're getting somewhere." I said, I said, "How many are there?" "There's 7 of them." And I said, "Okay."
Wow.
And I heard a set of footsteps kind of to my left, a set of footsteps to right in front of me, a set of footsteps to a little bit to my right, and then one kind of behind me and to the right. But I didn't know where the other 3 that the spirit box has said. And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I'm sitting there just trying to do things. I did a few tree knocks and everything like that. Got nothing back. Um, and in my head, I was like, "Hey, I mean no harm. I'm gonna try this out. I mean no harm. This gun on my hip is not for you. This is mainly for hogs and or bears that get a little too close or aggressive." I said, "If you want us to leave, you need to give me a sign." I said, "You either need to growl, throw a rock at me, uh, throw a stick at me, charge, roar, something. Like, give me a sign." And I heard something come from the woods. Like, it was almost like a muffled voice. And Matt grabbed me, pulled me back, and he's like, "You heard that, right?" And as I heard it, I didn't know what it said. And he was like, "It said, Brooks, leave now." And
Wow.
Mm.
I was like, and it wasn't out of the spirit box. It came directly in front of me from the woods. The spirit box was in the school to my left.
Mm.
And his friend that was at the wedding at the time heard it too. He's like, What was that?" And I said, "Okay, well, we're just gonna pack up and go." And I said that was our sign. And as we were going back, he had 2 other friends that went for a cigarette smoke at their car, and they said that they heard growling from behind the porta potty that was at the end of the parking lot. So I was like, "Okay, well, they gave 2 signs. Time to go." But circling all that around, another quick story was they said the monster was back, and I said, "Oh, is it the booger?" Another night. And these are all different nights, by the way. I don't know if I said that. These are all spread out between several months. Um, we went back another night, and they said there's a monster in the woods. I said, "Oh, is the booger back?" And they said, "No, dog." And I said, "Dog?"
Mm.
I said, "Well, I brought my dog Finn, which he's about 100-pound pit bull, and I brought him, and I was like, 'Oh, you mean my dog?' 'No, not Finn, big dog.'" And I said, well, Finn's a big dog. And they're like, no, it's not Finn. Not Finn. This is a big dog in the woods. And that's all we ever got out of the spirit box on that one.
Wow. Do you think they was
And
talking about like a dog man?
that's what we thought, but we have no evidence of yes, no, maybe. There was no signs, there was no experiences, there was no other than the word dog in the spirit box. There was
Big
nothing.
dog.
Yeah, big dog.
Big
It's a
dog.
big dog. I said, well, my dog's a big dog. And they're like, no, Finn's not a big dog. This is a big dog.
Wow.
But saying that and then going and looking at Black Eyed Kids lore, there are reports of them mimicking stuff, mimicking things, trying to get you to come out with things that you're interested in. You know, they're gonna try to pull you out.
Right.
So we go back to the night where I was pulled off. We agreed that, hey, maybe you should lay down again. Hey, let's see if we can get this again. We're gonna move the camera. Let's see what's happening. We don't feel like it's safe to go outside right now. There's a lot of things going on. Just lay back down and see if it happens again. About 7-10 minutes later, sure enough, I get pulled another 3-4 feet off the ground, and I hit the ground so hard I actually dislocated my knee, which that's a previous soccer injury that I deal with. But you know, had dislocated my knee, had to pop it back in, and I stood back up, and I was like, all right, I'm ready to go. I'm done. Like, I'm hurting. My chiropractor bill is raising through the roof as we speak. It is time to go. And Matt was like, no, there is something circling the building. I'm not liking this. We're going to stay in the building. The door's closed. We're going to stay in here and wait it out for an hour or two. And I said, no. But, you know, we talked about it and we agreed. And what was coming out of the spirit box was very wild, because one of our experiences that we did was Brushy Mountain, and we go about once a year for our anniversary. It was our first investigation. So every year about mid-September we go to Brushy Mountain. And the second time we went, we met a spirit named Robert who left me and Matt black and blue. He didn't like us where we were. We didn't feel it at the time. We didn't think anything of it. We had some headaches during it, but that's kind of normal for what we do. Mm-hmm. But going into this prison, you know, he says, I'm going to cut you. I'm going to stab you. We're going to fight, you know, and I became this little joking little rivalry with this spirit named Robert. And I woke up the next day and I had bruises all over me. Matt called me and he goes, are you bruised as well? And he goes, yes. He goes, I'm bruised. He's bruised. It was weird. And, you know, we felt like we were hit by a truck for days. But ever since then, this happened this past year. So this upcoming year, we're going back. And I've been making like little funny TikToks that Brooks and Robert are the rematch that no one asked for. We're going to fight. But we're at this schoolhouse, and the spirit box comes up and says, oh, Brooks. And I said, yeah, what's up? And they're like, guess who? And I was like, who? What? Who is it? Oh no, you have to guess. And I was like, well, I don't know who. And he's like, come to the door. It's your favorite person. And I said, as a joke, I said, Robert, is it you? And he goes, yep, it's Robert. And I was like, okay, yeah, BS. I mean, yeah, it's just playing games with me. BS. And it said something that it said in Brushy Mountain a year prior. It called me the B word 7 times in a row. Oh. But it said Brooks is a, and then said it several times in a row. And it said it again, and Matt had the headset on for the Estes method. Yeah. And he gave me the headset, and he goes, you're not going to believe this. And I put it on, and it's still going. Brooks is a. And I was like, Jesus Christ. I said, this doesn't make any sense, though. I said, Robert's in Brushy Mountain 2 hours away.
He might be following you.
That's I would think I thought that, but you know, this particular instance only happened about a month ago. So we're almost going on a whole year since we've heard from Robert.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird that it laid dormant that long. But then we kind of think, well, let's just throw this into the pit of the black-eyed kids quick. What do they know? How do they attain these knowledge if this is what it is? What can they find out? And what will they use to get you to come outside or welcome them in? I said, they know that I have this little joke beef with a spirit. Maybe they were trying to get a reaction out of me to fake welcome them in. I mean, there were times where the front door was shaking and it was like, let us in, let us in. We're like, no, you're not welcome here. Go away.
Need to start
But
bringing some salt and actually putting it in front of the door.
we have to try it. We'll try to do different things, but you
Yeah,
know, it's
salts throughout the ages has been used for that a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Also,
we hit,
too,
yeah.
the little dog thing.
Yeah.
John Bale, the Bale Witch.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a black dog follow him around, and
Yeah.
and he had the black dog run across the roof of his house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to think about it. It can be several cryptids that we're running into, or it can be just one mimicking several cryptids. And it just makes you think, because Matt is related to these people who lived in the cabin a mile away. And he says their diary journals would talk about these kids that would come out of the woods and want things.
Right.
If it was like a flower pot or something like that, and they would be like, oh yeah, the kids are coming, and they're like, oh yeah, no, the kids are coming, and she's like, no, they come every day.
Mm.
And you know, the one day, you know, they all came down, and she's like, yeah, you just give them what they want and they don't bother you. Yeah, but they described them having like these dark sunken eyes, and you know, they would come down through the hill and then run back into the woods.
That's weird. I done be out there.
We're too interested.
Well,
Yeah,
who gets
like,
scared
"Come
the
on,
most
Let's go.
between you and Matt?
If we had to say who gets scared the most, definitely me. Matt fails to have this chemical called fear. He'll jump and get startled, but he's definitely the first one. If there's a stick branch or something that breaks in the woods, he is straight there. He doesn't take a path. He goes through the trees, through the bushes. He's straight there. I said, me, I jump, and I'm kind of more excitable.
Well, when our equipment starts dying and our batteries go dead and everything shuts off, I tell David, I'm out of here.
Yeah. I'm like,
I'm going to the truck.
Come on, Jason. We've only been here for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, this should not be happening. Something wants us to leave.
Oh yeah, it's funny because sometimes I feel like Matt brings the calmness, and this is like I said, this is over several months of investigations. I'm trying to put it all in order in a way, and I'm losing track of everything. But the one time it came over that says we cannot harm family, and one of you is family. Well, Matt is related to the people. Some people who are in that cemetery. He was related to the people in that cabin a mile away, and he's related to a lot of these people who lived in the national park at the time. And that made sense. Well, we have more members that have become more common coming out with us. This started just me and Matt and whoever else wanted to join. Now I got my buddy Josh who works with me. He comes out and he's just as excitable as I am. We went out alone one day and you know everything popped off. We were hearing voices coming from the woods. We were hearing that crying in the attic, and we're freaking out. We're like, nope, we're done. We're never coming back. We're done. And then we kind of drive straight to Matt's house, and we're just like, no, we're never going back there. And he's like, come on, we're going. We're gonna. He goes, the only way to conquer your fear and stop being scared is to just face it head on, and you have to learn to stop being scared of it. And I said,
Well,
yes.
you know, I think people like him and I have an unfair advantage because we've dealt with this our whole lives and been able to see these things our whole lives. And so I think that's why these things don't scare us like they do a lot of other people. You know what I mean? Because
Oh,
I mean, again, from the age of 3, I mean, they chased me around the house starting at the age of 3. I remember
Yeah.
vividly waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and there'd be 3 people standing in my room and they look, I mean, just like regular people.
Yeah.
And so that's what scared me as a kid, is that I'm seeing 3 strange people standing in my bedroom looking at me, you know? And
That's
so
not weird at all.
exactly. It's like, wow, what, I'm waking up almost every morning and there's 3 people standing in my bedroom that shouldn't be there. And I don't even know who they are, you know? So I bust out of my room screaming and yelling, running through the house, you know? And no one else could see these things. And but I think, you know, once you realize what they are and everything, I think that, you know, at least for me, it was like, oh, okay, never mind, you know. And they stopped waking me up in the morning.
Yeah.
By the age of 5, that was it. They didn't wake me up in the 3 o'clock every morning like they used to. So
Yeah, it's definitely interesting on how this stuff works and everything. Because, like I said, like we got scared and we said we were never going back, but then the next day we're right back in there.
right,
You know, it's and we sit there and we try to learn. And
yes,
our number one job about being investigators, and even I have to kind of push myself every so often. But you have to be able to debunk yourself. You
yes,
have to be able to criticize yourself so that way when you're ready for it when other people criticize you, because
mhm,
this community is very small, it's very tight, but it's very opinionated. And I said I can post a picture of an orb right now and I can get 15 comments instantly. That's a moth.
right,
That's a dust. That's this, that's that. And
right,
then there's other people who are fighting and then it starts a big riot.
mhm,
And so you have to be ready for all that. And our number one job that we don't really 100% believe in this evidence. We sit there and try to debunk it fully. So there'll be things where we're like, oh yeah, it's this, this, and this, and everyone's like, oh my god, you got this crazy evidence, and I'm like, yeah, it could have been this though.
yeah,
I
huh,
mean, I
yeah,
feel like
that's
if you can't debunk yourself, then it's that's the whole point of this.
right. Well, you know, and that's the thing, is being you know, having being objective about it, saying, you know, okay, we heard this or we heard that. Now, what could it be? Right. So you're not always rushing to the thing of, oh, well, it's this or it's that, or it has to be this or it has to be that. No, it isn't anything until you could prove it is something.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you know, otherwise it's just speculation. And it's always just speculation, you know. So with these people over the years, you know, Jason and I have been criticized up one side, down the other for just doing this show. Not even for the other stuff that we do, right? For the
oh yeah,
for all the stuff, but and that's something that takes its own time to get used to. You know, people just sitting there throwing their hate bombs at you and stuff like that. It's like, you know, you ain't got
yeah.
nothing better to do.
It's funny because when I first moved to this area, one of the first things I saw was that Smoky Mountain Bigfoot conference, and that was
Yes.
about 2 3 years ago. I forget how many years, but I actually walked up to you guys when we first started, and
Yes.
I was getting information from you and stuff like that, and I was like, oh, cool. But I said, just watching those people, I loved it. I love talking to people. I love everything. But when you get to the experiences,
Yes.
it's a whole different ball game because this person will talk for 15 20 minutes about their experience, and then the
Yes.
next guy will get on and start the conversation. It's like, okay, well, if you just listen to that idiot for the last 15 minutes, I'm going to tell you what it really is.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah.
can you really say that? Do you have one living with you in your room?
Right.
no one
Yes.
no one knows anything. That's the whole point of the investigation part.
Yes. Exactly. You know, and that's the whole thing, is that um people will call themselves experts and allow themselves to be called experts in particular fields and things like that. But until there's hard evidence, either way,
Yeah,
there is no experts. We're all trying to figure it out, you know,
that's
and
what that's
that's
why
whether
one
it's
of these
Bigfoot or whatever, you know.
yeah, and that's why, like, when I'm on these shows and everything, I always make sure everyone is aware. Like, I I'm not saying these are black eyed kids. I'm not saying this
Right.
is Bigfoot. I'm not
Right.
saying this is Dogman, nothing. I can't
Yeah.
say that. You
Right.
know, you get the other average Joe here, and he's like, "Oh, I caught Bigfoot. This is
Yes.
Bigfoot, but I don't have a picture. I don't have a lump of fur. I don't have anything else."
Right.
But this is Bigfoot. Well, how do you know?
Right. And you know, I like to hear people's story or hear their stories and stuff like that. And you know, and take them at face value because you know
Yeah.
it was their experience. I wasn't there.
Oh, yeah.
You
And
know,
I'm not
and,
discrediting anybody.
right, exactly. And so I want to believe these people 100%, and I do. But at the same time, like you said, you know, there's a lot of people in all these fields that will call themselves experts, you
Yeah.
know, but name one of these so-called, say, we'll just pick on one field, Bigfoot expert, one of them that can take you to a family of Bigfoot tomorrow and show you a Bigfoot, right? It doesn't happen. It can't happen. They can tell you, well, we've got this evidence and we've collected this evidence. There's all kinds of evidence out there. And I think that there's a lot. There's footprint evidence. That there's some really smart people in this world that have said, yes, you know, this isn't a faked, you know, footprint. There's been DNA study after DNA study that shows almost the same exact thing time and time again, you know, where the mitochondrial or the female side shows human and then the male side shows unknown primate. Well, that shows something, you know, is there. So I think there is evidence, but it's not the evidence that everybody wants, right? They want that
Yeah.
perfect picture or, you know, all that. So yeah,
Yeah,
I understand.
I'm all for if you can 100% sell me on it, cool. I said, but like I have one of these one of my friends, he'll send me pictures all the time and they're like, "Oh, look at this. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Well, it can be a number of things." And he goes, "No,
Yes.
that's Bigfoot." And I said, I mean, it could be. I'm
Yeah,
but
right.
in the same sense, it could be a demon, it could be a ghost, it could be a dogman, Bigfoot,
Right.
you know,
Right.
trolls. And he's like, "No, those aren't real." And I was like,
Those aren't real. Okay. I love it. I like it. I
"Yeah,
like the certainty in that.
there's I'm not gonna call him out by name, but there's this one
All
guy.
right.
He believes in Bigfoot to the full extent, and so do I.
Yeah.
But he goes, Bigfoot is 100% real, but ghosts are not.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
And I'm like,
Man.
I feel like
Really?
when you get into this
Yes.
field,
Yeah.
the ghost is the first step. It's not
Yes.
even the first up step. It's just the floor.
Yes. Yes. And that's, and you know, like what you guys are doing, and y'all are on YouTube, right? You have some YouTube videos and
Yeah, I have to get better at that. But everything. So basically, our YouTube videos is everything that I take from my camera. It goes
Mhm.
straight from YouTube. There's no editing. There's no
Right.
rendering, nothing like that. I just take it straight from the camera, put it right on YouTube. So there's like 4 hours of footage on one investigation, and there's like 2 minutes of content.
Right. Well,
You just have to find it.
you know what's good about that though, and I the one thing is that it shows real expectations. You know, a lot of these shows and stuff like that will take a week-long investigation and then they'll show the best
All the
parts
good
of it
stuff.
and make it look like it all happened in one night.
Put it in 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and make it look like it all happened in that one night of investigation. We did all of this, but in reality, you can go to a place and get all kinds of activity. Go back a week later and not get nothing.
And have nothing.
Nothing happened. And then you go back a month later and there it is again. It's all there. You know, and that's the reality of paranormal investigation, you know.
Yeah, and I'll get a lot of criticism about, like, "Oh, you guys can't be real." I said, "You guys are posting, you're getting tossed across the room and then you're seeing orbs and you're hearing voices every single time." And I said, "It's not every single time. You're just seeing all that." That's, I mean, that's just the stuff you see. I've been out of all those footages, that's like 3 weeks of work and at least 15 hours of investigation.
Right.
Yeah, there's a
And
certain show that's on. I think it's 27 or 8 seasons. And every single show, somebody's possessed.
I think we know that.
Yes. All you had to do is say that one word, possessed.
Yeah,
It's,
Say no more.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just for show. These people,
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Now, I think when they first started, though, they were
Oh, yeah.
excellent. Like their first few seasons of that show, and I won't name it, but I think it was excellent. I think it
Yeah.
just got to the point where all of a sudden it's just
It's about the
got-
fame and fortune, and
yeah.
it got hokey. You know, it got
Yeah.
to where.
It's the TV people themselves going like, we got to bring in the audience.
Well, and I think that has a lot to do with it because we've talked to people that were on Finding Bigfoot and all those other shows, and they talk about how they were almost tried to be forced to make things that didn't happen,
Mhm.
make stuff. And they were like, no, they're either doing this show the right way or we're not doing it at all, but not everybody has what it takes to put their foot down. And even if it means their show gets canceled, doing the right thing.
yeah.
Right.
And me and Matt talk about this a lot. We look at all these other paranormal YouTube channels that are doing great, and I'm not here to do this for the fame or the money or anything. I do have merch and everything that goes, all that money that I do sell, that the one T-shirt I sold, goes to buy equipment.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
or go to a place, because this hobby is very expensive. Like just to go to Brushy
Yes.
Mountain for 6
Preach
people is like $800.
Preach it. I know.
Yeah,
we
right.
do this. We've been doing this since 2012. And we only really, since our name changed to Paranormal 411, have we really started taking it more serious, if you want to quote, air quotes that. Before it was just us having a good time, and hey, we still have a good time, but we had no expectations. We just did what we did and didn't care about one thing, what anybody said or did or nothing,
Yeah.
When we changed our name and stuff, we said, let's start actually doing YouTube videos and getting into doing this stuff. And all this software, all this equipment, the monthly fees to do all these different things is very costly.
Yes.
And, we have people like Eddie and Susan from Legends and Lore Pizzeria and a lot of these other places, and a lot of these people that go to our website at paranormal411.org and become members. They pay. We have a $2 and a $10 a month membership, and that helps us out with all of this,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very loyal people because we don't really give them anything different for that.
Yeah. We don't do the, hey, you get a t-shirts or anything, it's just, you're just helping us.
Yeah.
With your guys' last name of the show, people was logging in to see a beer.
That's it. Yes.
Dark Corona.
That's
it.
Yeah, we used to be called Project Dark Corona back when Corona was cool.
Yeah, before coronavirus came, it made it very uncool.
Yeah, and then it was uncool, and we changed the name, and here we are today.
Well, we lost Project Dark Corona. We actually lost all of our Facebook accounts and everything else.
Oh yeah.
Because we had what 5,000-6,000 people on Facebook at that time.
Yeah, lost everything.
We still haven't even got that back yet.
Ooh.
Dave and I were at a gas station, and Dave was sitting there talking about Dark Corona. And a guy across the way is going like, "Hey, is that a new beer?"
Yeah.
It was actually the first spy satellite, right?
Yep, 1950s. First U.S. spy satellite program was called Project Dark Corona. Yep. But the coronavirus just had to mess that up. Huh?
But yeah, no, like even when me and Matt were trying to start this group, at first we were trying to join a group, and we're like, hey, we don't know what we're doing, so let's join a group where we can learn from people. And there was we were looking in the wrong spots, obviously, but I found this one group, and they're like, oh yeah, so it's $400 a year. You get to go to this place, and this place, but you have to pay to go to these places on top of that $400. You have to, yeah. And I'm just like, this doesn't buy the equipment. This doesn't do anything. This is just a membership fee. And I was like,
No way.
We're gonna no bye. Now over the last 3 years, I've met tons of people that they're like, What? No, that's not. No, no, we don't do that." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Well, now I know that. You guys are actually cool. Those guys, I don't know what $400 gets me."
Get them not to have to work is what that gets them.
Right? I wish I could make this my day job, but I don't want it that badly. But me and Matt, all we go is, "Hey, you want to go ghost hunting? Cool. If you're really new, we don't know you. We make you sign a waiver saying we're not liable if you get possessed." And that's it.
Large Marge comes in.
Yeah. If you wander off in the woods by a creepy person, that's on you.
Yeah. If you open the door for the black-eyed kids,
Yeah,
that's
that
on
is
you.
on you. Yeah. We will be in the truck going away.
Yes.
When David and I started this, we worked together just like you and Matt and
Yeah.
David. I don't know if we told you this before, but David says, "I think my house is haunted. Let's go check it out." This was at work. I said, "Okay, I'll be over there." Went over there. We done our little thing. I got spooked and scared and didn't go back for 2 weeks. And that's how we started out, on just using a cell phone.
Cell phones and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Programs on cell phones. And
We did our first show
on a cell phone.
On a cell phone, and
Yes.
it was about the Georgia Guidestones.
Georgia Guidestones and Denver Airport.
Yes.
Yep.
I want to go to the Denver airport so badly.
Yes.
I just want to walk around there.
Guidestones sucks because they don't exist anymore. So
yeah, they got blew up.
Yep. We've been there twice though. Yeah.
So what do you think in the afterlife? What do you think it is? Do you think what happens?
I don't know if I have an opinion about this, to be honest with you. Like, I believe there's a heaven and hell,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know if I believe what heaven is what everyone says it is. I just feel like it's a lot of people say ghosts are here because they still have a need to be here and stuff like that, or they were casted out from heaven.
Like an unfinished job.
Yeah, and I just don't know if that's what it is, or if there's so many of them where they just stay here, but in reality, it's a worry-free life.
Yeah.
That's kind of it's weird because a lot of people say I'm talking to demons or something like that, and I said I don't think I've ever met one demon. I don't think I've ran into a single demon. I don't think, but there's so many spirits. I don't know.
So do you think that do you think they have like free will to be here or not be here?
I think it's a choice.
Yeah.
But I also think it, kind of it. I don't even know how to explain it. I feel like it's just yeah. When you pass away, I feel like you kind of just your energy stays here, almost like the way I explained it last time was, we see these stars up in the sky, but they've been dead for thousands of years. We're just seeing the light because there was so much energy, it's still burning out.
Yeah.
So there was so much energy in this vessel, it's just waiting to burn out. It's only been 100 years or something like that. It could take another few hundred for it to finally, that energy to burn out.
Right. Yeah, I think our energy, I think when we do pass, that our energy has a choice whether to go to where it came from, or maybe to stay here and finish some unfinished business. But I think at any time, they could pretty much go toward the light and go wherever they wanted to go.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things where we were talking about earlier. It can be anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully one day we figure that out. Are these portals that people are seeing part of that?
I think people are going to be surprised when, they believe something right now, but I believe you're right. I believe it's totally different than what we think it is.
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't
What do you
think.
think, Roger?
Well, being a total Christian, I believe that there is a heaven and hell, and I believe that there is, something there.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, we're 10 minutes from taking the break.
Yes, we are.
So let's do this, something we don't do very often. So this first hour will play on the radio in Atlanta.
Okay.
So you go ahead and give out your information, how people can, get a hold of you, merch, just, your websites, just all your stuff. So then that way, when we go to break and when we come back, we'll start, we'll start talking
Hearing some
again.
more stories.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and I got more to tell. But we're the Smokies Unforgotten Spirits, or TSUS for short. You can find us on all platforms: Facebook, X, or Twitter, whatever you feel free to call it, Instagram and TikTok. And then our merch store, which I don't expect anyone to go to. It's just a Teespring at TSUS, I think it is.
All
Awesome.
right.
Awesome. Now, do you have a place where people, say, in your area could say, hey, I've got I think I have something in my house, and would you mind coming down and looking and doing an investigation? Do you guys do that kind of thing?
We have flirted with the idea. We are not opposed to it. Just any time that something has happened like that,
Mhm.
it's either it's fallen through. We've burned the bridges were burned, or a falling out happened, and right before something would happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we kind of try to gauge the person first, as I'm not trying to go into somebody's house and actually go disappearing, because in this field, the most scariest thing in the world is a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
We've done-
this one guy, he messaged us and he said he thinks his house is haunted because his Roomba will randomly turn on and clean his house.
That's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought.
Yes.
Hmm.
So
Does
he
his
wanted us to come to his house in Knoxville and investigate his house, because his Roomba will turn on every 4 hours and clean his house.
It's probably where it's set.
Yeah, reset the settings.
No, what's really scary is Alexa will start laughing in the middle of the night. There you go.
I'll tell you what's crazy though. I do have the one that's down here in the living room.
Yeah.
We'll be sitting up there talking, and all of a sudden this one down here with nobody down here will start just talking.
It would get unplugged if it was me.
I'm fully okay with it. But we we do a lot of cleansings. About once a month we'll we sage and everything, the house and all the entryways and doorways and windows and all that stuff, and tell anything that isn't supposed to be here that it has to leave. And I'll tell you, if you've never done it before, it's amazing.
Yeah.
When I used to be an over the road truck driver, I could walk into the house and feel like the weight of the week that I had on me from all the stuff that happens from being an over the road truck driver, going from here to wherever and back. Coming back at the end of the week, I'd walk in through the door and I would literally feel like there was something just taking all that off of me. And I'd look at my wife and I'd say, "You saged this week, didn't you?" And she'd go, "Yep." And but it's something you could literally feel, so it's pretty amazing.
I wonder if
I
it'll make the kids clean their room.
I don't know, but if they start saying that their eyes are burning and stuff, you might want to get some holy water out.
Be a good test to do every once in a while. Just sprinkle holy water on them, see what happens.
That's right.
Hey, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break. Give you a chance to chill out a minute and get you a drink, go to the bathroom.
This is 6 minutes. 1
6
second.
minutes.
1 second. We had to throw in the 1 second just in case, you know.
Yeah.
It's a 6 minute, 1 second break, and we'll be right back.
Yep. We'll be back. So don't go nowhere.
Yeah. Everybody that's on live right now better stay there. Don't
Yes.
touch that dial.
Don't touch that mouse.
Or TV or phone. Whatever it is, stay on it.
All right, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
What if the world we know is merely a fraction of reality? What if there are forces, entities, and phenomena that exist just beyond our comprehension in the shadows of the unknown? Welcome to Paranormal 411, your gateway to the unexplained and the downright chilling. Imagine, if you will, a quiet, sleepy town tucked away from the hustle and bustle of the city. The locals tell tales of a house atop a hill where strange lights flicker and eerie sounds echo in the dead of night. Some say it's haunted, others claim it's a portal to another realm. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain: those who venture there are never quite the same. Or picture this, a clear, starry night in the heart of the desert. Suddenly a blinding flash cuts across the sky, a craft of unknown origin moving at impossible speeds. It hovers, then vanishes, leaving only questions and a sense of awe. Could it be visitors from another world, or perhaps a secret government project? These stories, these encounters with the unknown, are what we love here at Paranormal 411. Our mission? To explore the unexplored, to question the unquestioned, and to shine a light into the darkest corners of the paranormal. We've journeyed through haunted houses and UFO sightings, and into the mysteries of cryptids and psychic phenomena, and pondered the existence of other dimensions. And yet, there is so much more to discover. Paranormal 411 is your guide to the unexplained and the extraordinary. Here we talk about the mysteries that lurk in the shadows of our world, from haunted houses and UFO sightings to cryptids and psychic phenomena. We love to question, to explore, and to understand the unknown. There's a world of mystery out there just waiting to be discovered. So why not join us on this journey into the unknown? Subscribe to our YouTube channel and become a part of the Paranormal 411 community. Together, we can uncover the secrets that the universe holds. Welcome to Paranormal 411. Your journey into the unknown starts here. Join us.
In the heart of Madisonville, Tennessee, lies a pizzeria like no other. Step through the door of Legends and Lore Pizzeria and be transported to a realm where paranormal and cryptid encounters, along with mouth-watering pizza, go hand in hand. Meet Eddie and his crew, who serve up slices of the supernatural along with the best pies in town. With the walls adorned with eerie artifacts, indulge in piping hot slices that melt in your mouth and tease your taste buds. And it's not just the locals who love the incredible pizza. Legends and Lore has been selected as the best pizza joint in all of Monroe County. As lovers of everything pizza and the paranormal, the owners have mastered the art of crafting unforgettable combinations that will leave you wanting more. To stay connected with this mystical eatery, follow Legends and Lore Pizzeria on Facebook, where tales of their latest creations and upcoming specials will be shared. Make sure to browse their custom menu, featuring legendary pizzas like the Chupacabra Ranch and the Exorcist. So, whether you have an appetite for the supernatural or simply seek the best pizza in town, Legends and Lore is the place to be. Come for the unforgettable flavors, stay for the captivating stories, and find yourself in a world where legends and pizza collide.
Get ready to rock with the electrifying sound of Catalyst, a band that's sure to leave you wanting more. With their powerful lyrics and killer riffs, Catalyst is a great sound in the world of rock music. You can listen and find Catalyst on Bandcamp, or go to the link at paranormal411.org and click on their banner.
All right,
All
we
right.
are back.
All right. And we want to say thanks to the band Catalyst
Yes.
for allowing us to use their music. And it looks like Mike is and Jeff is in the house right there. So
So Catalyst has a show next week.
Yes. Where is it at? Let us know real quick so we can tell everybody.
Yeah, I think it's Battle of the Bands.
It is a Battle of the Bands. It's on a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. Throw it all in there for me.
Yeah.
Remember, you can find us at paranormal411.org, paranormal411 on Facebook, YouTube, and X. We are live every Tuesday, Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time, and Saturdays, like tonight from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, on Saturdays at 10 p.m. to 11 p.m., we are on in the Metro Atlanta area. You catch us at WDJY FM. That's 99.1 FM. Now, if you're outside of Atlanta, you can still listen. It's at WDJYFM.com, or you go to paranormal411.org and click the link. Now, remember, we're on Subspace Radio and all major podcast platforms. Don't miss. Where do I have my book?
Right there.
Oh, it took off on me. Look at that. See, this is what you get with live radio, right? East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore, Edition 2.
Oh, yeah.
Right? It's on Amazon. You could also go to paranormal411.org and buy the book, East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore, Edition 2. It's awesome. It's all kinds of stories and stuff from East Tennessee. Right, Jason?
Yes. And if you do get the book,
please
leave us a review. Reviews. Eddie.
Eddie, I love it. Hey, and you got to remember, Legends and Lore Pizzeria is the best place around for pizza.
Yeah, Eddie says he needs to try that place we advertise.
It looks good, don't it? Remember, join us.
Yes, join us.
Join us.
If you just joined us, we got Brooks. We were going to have Matt, but I think he got a little tied up from the Smokies Unforgotten Spirits. We're going to bring him back on and tell us some more stories. What's up?
How you doing?
Yeah, no, Matt just texted me. He said he can't get his internet working right. So I was like, well, thanks. I said, I feel like I'm struggling up here by myself.
No, you're good.
Good, man.
Good. Yeah. No, this is doing good.
I'm a socially awkward person, so me trying to stay concentrated.
Just remember, you're just talking to me and David.
It's just
a conversation.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just try to keep everything in order because I feel like if I jump around, I'm like, oh, that discredits me.
No. I mean, you know what's cool is that they could go to your YouTube and stuff like that, and they could watch the videos and stuff.
Yeah.
So and the one you showed us of you getting yanked off, that was wicked.
Yeah.
That was wicked.
I'm still waiting for somebody to tell me that I'm faking on that one. Everyone is
I want to see how it was done.
Yeah, that's what I told him. If you can figure out how I did it, let me know. Because that hurt.
You're like a Buddhist monk if you can do that, by yourself.
Josh says you got this.
Oh, that's actually my buddy who comes with us every once in a while.
Okay, all right, that's awesome. So, go ahead.
We can actually start this off since he's in the chat right now because he'll love me for this one. One of his first outings was probably one of our funniest nights, and I'll never let him live it down.
We gotta have those kind of stories, yes.
So we'll start it off on a good one here. So we go to this ghost town called Elkmont a lot, and if for anyone in the area, Elkmont is an old ghost town. I think it's. He goes,
he knows where this is going.
Previously called Daisy Town. I'm not too knowledgeable. I have to do more research. I'm awful at that stuff. But a bunch of cabins in this area, and one of our favorite cabins that we like to investigate has a lot of activity, a lot of knocks. The doors move all the time. We tend to catch orbs on the camera a lot, so we like to set up in there and start off our night in there. And this is kind of when we were first starting off. We had me, Matt, our friend Kirsten and Josh. I'm pretty sure this was Josh's like first outing out, if not second. And we all carry guns on us just for, like I said, people, or there's hogs in the woods and stuff like that. And you don't
Mhm.
go to these places and have a homeless person jump you. But we were investigating, and we had a bad camera at the start. The camera just didn't have an external microphone. It just whatever heard 2 feet in front of it, and that was it. So the camera didn't really catch any of this, and it sucks because most people will thankfully believe me, but I was like, they don't have to at all. But we're in the kitchen and we hear a growl come out from outside of the cabin. And there's a rear door right there, and we all rush out. We're looking around. We have our flashlights out. We're like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? And we're not seeing anything. And the backyard of this cabin, or quote unquote backyard, it goes like 4 feet, and then it goes into like a bunch of bushes, and then kind of a hill that goes down. So we looked around, we're not seeing anything. We're looking for a wolf, a bear, something. It didn't sound like a bear growl, but we're just looking for something to pinpoint it. We go back in, and I look at the camera, and it made the noise that it's about to die. So take the camera, I turned it off, I replaced the battery, and as I was doing that, you heard something sprint towards the back of the cabin, full sprint in the gravel, climb up the side of the cabin, which I was just there. I want to say it's about 12 feet up in the air. Climb straight up
Wow.
the cabin, runs across the tin roof, and then jump down into the front. As this happened, though, Josh grabbed his gun and pointed it at the door. And, this was all happening. We all stared at him. What are you gonna do? Shoot a ghost? And he goes, "That's not a ghost." And we're like, "Yes."
Oh,
So we
man,
don't let him live that one down.
that's
And
good.
but to give him credit, earlier in that night we showed up, and there's a cemetery that's not too far away. It's off onto the side, and we pulled up in there. And as we pulled up, there was a questionable person that was petting a coyote.
Mm,
So
that's interesting.
we were already a little bit on edge, and he, if he's still in the chat and not embarrassed by now, he can tell you this was probably the biggest coyote we've ever seen. Like, this coyote was big.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I tell the rangers about it all the time, and they're like, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, hey, he was petting a coyote. We don't we pulled up, and he was shocked that he was like more shocked to see us than anything."
Man. He says in his defense, he heard a lot of noise. It was covering the nearest point of egress. That's
But
good.
yeah, something else startled him that night too, and he reached in his bag to grab his gun, and he went up wrong one. And I looked at him like, at this point, I said, "Is there a wrong one to grab?" If there
Well,
was something to grab,
at least he didn't Barney Five it.
yes. But all the guys at work give him a lot of crap for that one. We don't let Josh live that one down.
Good.
Have you heard of, or have you been? You guys, have you ever been to the Wheatland Plantation in
Yes,
Sevierville?
yes. So
Ooh.
before they sold it, I have a friend. Her name is Cheryl, and her son Eric, and they have to forgive me. I always forget the name of their group. The Tennessee Haunted History Research, and they were hosting an event. She was friends with the previous owner, and she invited us and Fearful Encounters out of Merville, or not Merville. Why did I say Merville? Chattanooga. That group actually runs the hospitals of Old South, Pittsburgh, and Harriman, and they invited all three of our groups, and we did an overnight investigation in there. And that's actually where me and Matt learned how to do the Estes method. And I have this video on my YouTube. It's an hour long, but it's probably, if not the best Estes method that I've ever witnessed and been a part of and ever seen. Like, we sat in the living room and we Stramyard it, and then we sent another guy out of Vortex Paranormal. I think his name was Nathan. It's been a while. I haven't talked to him since. But we sent him to the graveyard, which is about 2, possibly 300 yards away. We sent him and Eric to the graveyard. Eric was filming him the whole time. He had his cell phone, on the Stramyard, and he had it muted so he couldn't hear us. And he had the headset on. We were doing this Estes method through. And we're in the house, and we're even going off a camera, and we're like, hey, what color is this bottle in my hand? And you can't see it in the camera, and it's blue. And we're like, oh, okay. There were times we weren't allowed downstairs because they had a lot of the original stuff down in the basement, and they didn't want us down there. But there were times where the door would start shaking, and we would be like, oh, are you downstairs? And I'm like, yeah, let us out. We're like, we can't. But like, oh, how many fingers am I holding up? I have, but behind my back, 2. Okay, cool. We would hear running upstairs, and our REM pods were going off. I made a mistake that night, and I was still newer to the thing. The front door, they're what Chris calls the demon children. They said there was 2 children on the porch, and they wanted to be let in. And I said, I will let you in if you knock. And then we heard a knock, so I let them in. And he doesn't let me live. He doesn't let me live that down. But I was newer, and I wasn't thinking. I was really excited. So everyone hated me for that night. But everyone's still alive. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, I haven't heard from Nate since, but he'll be all right.
You have you want to show that in right there, Jason?
Which one?
The last one, that person that talked right there.
Yeah.
Vincel. That he's watched that video a few times.
Oh yeah, V. I would say V definitely believes in this stuff. V is one of my friends. And he refuses to go out with me. I don't know why. It's not like anything happens, but he loves. I always send him my stuff to. I'm like, hey, can you debunk this? Hey, can you critique this? Hey, how did this turn out? What do you think this is? And he's awesome, but he can't figure out how any of that worked. So he really enjoys that Estes video.
Yeah, we've done an investigation and used the Estes method, and I don't know. I think that if it's done right, like it's supposed to be done, it's almost hard to debunk because the person with the headphones on can't hear anything that's being said, and so what you get out of it, if you could understand what they're saying,
yes.
Yeah. What you get out of it, I think, is pretty fascinating because you don't even know what the questions were being asked,
Yeah. And you can see Nate in that video, and he's like laughing at like the answers he's saying, but he is answering our questions like that and to a key, but to him it's blue, shut up, stupid, what? But he's answering all of our stuff, and he's just sitting there laughing like, I don't know if this is making any sense, but
that's amazing. So what do you think about the place, since you got to do a nighttime investigation there, because it's purportedly pretty dang haunted?
I will say it there is something there. Now I think there's it's been sold and owned by a lot of people, and there's a big hoopla about it. So one of the owners tried to make it into a haunted house, like a walkthrough haunted house with scare actors and everything. So they made a lot of that stuff up. Like there's like a lot of stories of there was like 70 murders in the basement, and this happened here and this happened here. None of that actually happened.
Right.
There are some of it that happened, but it almost discredits all of it because of these gentlemen who owned it at the time. And they didn't know this at the time. We're still trying to get 100% work on, but the graveyard that we sent Nate to, they put their own fake graveyard over it. So everyone says there's not an actual slave graveyard there. And when me and Matt were down there, because I think there was only a few of us that actually went down there fully, you can almost see where the grounds are sunken in like there was a grave.
Right.
And every once in a while there's like these weird stones, and they didn't look like the pictures of these guys that owned it previously. So it's like, I think I feel like you can figure out if there is or not. We're trying to go through and figure it out, but there's a lot of people that say that there's no actual graveyard there.
That's you probably could go through, and the city would have if it ever was listed as having one there.
The city does, but it's weird. Like oh yeah, there is one, but then there's also another one for this fake one that they did. They paid a lot of money to make it seem legit, kind of deal. So there's another certified graveyard with no actual bodies.
Right. Well, the good thing about that is that you'd be able to tell when that one was.
Yeah, you
certified.
should. And like I said, we're still going through the research on that one. I don't know.
Right.
I haven't looked at it in a while, but
yeah, I'd say a local historian could probably help you a lot with that.
Hopefully. We're gonna have to get back in. I know it's under new management, so I don't even know if we'll ever be allowed back in there again.
Right.
I wanted to get back in there before they sold it, but
are they the new management? Are they going to have it open for?
I don't know if they're using it as their own. I drive by there pretty frequently. So Josh doesn't live too far away from it, but so I drive by there often. But I mean, the other day I drove back there and the old box springs and mattresses were laying on the front porch. So I think they're doing some remodeling, which upsets me because everything was like original in there.
Oh, that's terrible when people go and start messing with the history like that.
Yeah. But it all in all, though, that night was really cool. There was a lot going on. Eric actually got a picture, and I don't know. I'll have to contact Cheryl and try to find it. But you can actually see this girl behind the tree that he was sitting at, because on the Estes method, he's watching Nate, and he can't hear what Nate's hearing, and he can't hear us, and he just hears what Nate's saying. So he has really no idea what's going on. But he's hearing a little girl's voice behind me. Or behind him. Hold on, my cat is.
Meow.
Meow. Here, go ahead.
Feed me.
Barbara
I didn't know he was in here.
Barbara put something pretty good in there where they said, GPR, or ground penetrating radar, could actually be used also.
Yes. And I think it's just more because they did that, but since it's private owned land, we can't just go into it. They have to agree, and they didn't. They're just, the old owners were just like, yeah, no, that's not there. It's never been there.
Gotcha.
So because I told him, I said, you can do the sonar too, but
what was that place we went to eat at, Jason?
Greenbrier.
Have you ever done anything there? That place is
not the restaurant.
Yeah, that place is pretty crazy.
I've heard a lot of lore on there. I want to get over there, but I just didn't know how. I'm still in the process of, people don't know how to take me yet, so I'm not always fully welcomed at places. I'm actually surprised the national park got back to me and said I was allowed in Kate's Cove overnight.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We went there and ate, and we got, I can't tell you how many stories from people that work there at the Greenbrier, of pictures being taken, and there's a little boy always seen underneath the stools in the bar area, and all kinds of stuff. It seems like it's pretty crazy. When we was leaving, the women went to go use the bathroom, and all of a sudden, when they started walking in, the lights just started flickering. It was pretty crazy. Yeah.
I hear a lot about that place, but since it was a restaurant, I never thought about contacting them.
Yeah.
We've contacted the Titanic a few times, but they told me I would need $40,000 to pay the staff to stay overnight with me.
Holy crap.
So it takes them they pay their staff $40,000 a night. Yeah, right.
It was like the expenses of, it was like $40,000. I think the email said it was like $40,000 to pay the staff to stay overnight, and the electric and heating bill and all that. And I was like,
yeah,
I guess that was more insurance on all the real stuff in there too. But because that's how they do a ghost tour there in every once in a while, but tickets are like $300 So that makes sense.
Hmm.
That's insane. That's
What-
all it's about then.
What's supposed to happen there? I mean, anything?
I've heard, so this is just hearsay. I've seen TikTok videos and other videos of like employees saying that they'll hear screams from the bottom. They'll hear, or they'll see people, they'll hear screams. And apparently, I think it was 2 years ago or during the COVID time. I think I saw the video 2 years ago. One of the windows randomly shattered.
Hmm. Wow. I mean, just the residual energy from the real artifacts that are there. I could see having some residual hauntings, for sure. I don't know about having anything other than a residual. I guess it'd be possible, but
Yeah,
No.
I don't fully understand it myself, but also I'm not one to be like, no.
well,
I've worked in a lot of buildings in Pigeon Forge that are extremely haunted,
yeah.
and I understand why one of them is, but I don't understand why the other ones are.
Well, I mean, the age of a building and a building period doesn't necessarily always have anything to do with it.
No.
With the property, there's a lot of things that go into things like that. And Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg, all the way up through there. I mean, there's been occupation after occupation for tens of thousands of years because the natives live there, So, I mean, I think a lot of people, when they do it, they're like, oh, well, I think that you can't go into a new building and find, spirits or ghosts or anything because it's new. No one's died there.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't necessarily, it could be the property,
Yeah.
I don't
And
think it can
Go
not
ahead.
only be the property, it could be a spirit passing through that decides
Yes.
it wants to stay there.
Yeah.
Yep. Just gets
I mean,
comfortable.
like it's one of those things where I believe it once I experience it, and that's how I've always been. But
Yep.
like I'm a maintenance person or slash mechanic for my job title. So I've worked maintenance in a lot of these buildings, and I'm not going to say the names of them. Obviously, I'm not going to try to get them to come at me. But there's the one building I worked in has a zombie haunted house in it, and all the stuff in it is real life hospital equipment from an abandoned hospital.
Oh,
I mean, some of these drawers still had like the scalpels and everything when I was going through them that they didn't know
Hmm.
about. But like the real equipment, the real gurneys, there was real equipment that was used in them. And that haunted house, I mean, haunted houses don't phase me. I used to work in them as a scare actor. They don't phase me. I'm used to all the compressed air and all that stuff. Plus, I go ghost hunting. I see the real stuff. But in this haunt, goosebumps the whole time. I feel like somebody's staring in the back of my skull all the time. And I would be there at night. And, when I was working there, the one day, I heard something fall on the front counter and I was locking it up. And I was like, what's going on? I went in and all the pamphlets were spread out on the floor. Like it fell. I was like, oh, one of the stupid cashiers left it on the ledge. And I was typing my security code in to lock the door, and a radio flew across the room and hit me in the head.
Oh,
Whoa.
I mean, it was only like, I say across the room is like 3 feet, but
Right,
I
yeah.
set it right next to the thing so that way when the next guy comes in that hits his code, the radio's right there.
right.
But it boom. I was like, well, okay, cool. And I was cleaning the parking lot, and I saw a shadow figure in the doorway, and I was like, cool. That was the only thing I ever really experienced at that place. But talking to the cashiers and the people who run it, they said during COVID that they heard a blood curdling scream in the mirror maze, and they saw a little girl run into the mirror maze. Well, they're not there. They weren't open during COVID. They were just doing cleanings just to get hours. So they cleaned the mirror maze like 8 times a week. But they saw a little girl run through the mirror maze, and they couldn't find her. They heard a blood curdling scream. They went behind the mirrors. They couldn't find her. They called the cops. They searched the building. They couldn't find anything.
Wow. So it's
And,
things like that that make you wonder, what is that? What happened in the past that might have this?
So
little girl-
I heard that building used to be a restaurant, and before then it was an old folks home.
Oh,
So that building made more sense to me than another hotel I used to work at. I used to work at a chain hotel in Pigeon Forge.
mhm.
They opened up a new one. I went there, and both of those buildings are extremely haunted. One of them makes sense from I can't really say anything because
Right.
the city's trying to cover that part up, so I'm not going to say anything.
Gotcha.
But the property is pretty haunted.
Mm.
And during the COVID time also, and I seen this video, the doors were opening up and slamming shut of the hotel rooms because the maintenance guys would throw the deadbolt on, so then that way they didn't have to hit the key every single time because the keys expire after 30 days. So they kept the deadbolt on and no one was in the hotel. But one of the maintenance guys moved his family into the hotel during COVID, so that way he didn't have to pay rent and he watched the hotel overnight and he took care of maintenance things during the week. So he was basically living at the job and they let him do that. Cool, awesome for you. Plus they only had like 2 months of downtime. But the one night he said he heard the doors opening and closing. So he went out there and it all stopped and he was walking across the bridge and one of the windows shattered at his feet. Like full on exploded.
Wow.
Mm.
That's
I
interesting.
saw the security footage for that one. And then they're trying to say this without saying the name. their ballroom.
Uh-huh.
They're attached to one of their kitchens. And I also see the security camera footage of this one. You saw a black mass zoom across the ballroom, and then in the kitchen, a bunch of pans flew off the shelf.
Wow.
And I'm being really careful because I know one of the front desk ladies might be watching. But
Barbara, it's not Greenbrier, West Virginia. It's Greenbrier Restaurant in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It's a really good place to eat too. It has really good food.
I haven't
But,
been there yet. I have to try to get there.
Yeah, it actually does really. It has good food, wasn't it, Jason? The
Yeah,
food
it
was
was good.
awesome. The atmosphere of the place is awesome. And a lot of the staff will, if they know that that's your thing, right? Like we told them, hey, we do a podcast on this stuff, and so they were pretty free at telling us some stuff. We were promised some photos, but we never got them.
You gotta go
So,
back.
yeah, we gotta go back.
So the story of that was the woman in white, wasn't it? Or
So it was the woman there was getting married,
yeah.
and her husband, the guy that she's marrying, didn't come the day of the wedding. So she was ashamed and didn't want to go back home because she thought he left her and didn't want to marry her. So she hung herself off the balcony. And come to find out the next day, people found him. He had a bear attack or something, just not that far from the place, and it killed him. That's why he didn't show up. And so people say that they sometimes the woman in white or she will actually, they think that she's a server and she'll come in and talk about, like act almost like a server, but she's nobody. Yeah. Yeah. Did you see my server so-and-so was just here, but she never brought me my drinks, and stuff. Yeah.
I've heard the woman in white, but not at Greenbrier. I heard it on the motor trail.
Yeah.
I've tried to drive the motor trail a few times. I haven't had anything happen there, but I've heard about the woman in white on the motor trail. I don't know how far away that is from the Greenbrier restaurant. I'm not entirely sure where it even is.
Well, and when it was a private residence, that's where the little boy supposedly comes from. There was a pond, and supposedly he drowned in the pond, and that's why you see the little boy and stuff like that. So that's something that's fascinating to me too, because I used to be in that area a lot. And here recently, I've noticed that they have some ghost tours and stuff that they do in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Yeah. And not to discredit that ghost tour, I went on it once, but anytime anything started happening, they would move you along pretty quickly.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, come on now. That's why you're there.
Yeah, no, they'll take you to that one cemetery up. There's a cemetery right in the middle of Gatlinburg, and we were on it, and things started happening, and we were starting to get pictures of like blurs and like big flashes of light, and they were like, "Okay, time to go. Let's go."
Wow.
sounded like that person was a non-believer. It just made them a believer.
Right.
Let's go. That's funny. Yeah, because one time we were there and me and the wife was like, maybe we should do a ghost tour sometime. We like doing them. We've got a guy that's here local in Loudon, Bo Carey, and he does a Bo Carey history tours and stuff of Loudon. And starting like the end of this month or sometime next month,
Yeah.
he's going to start his ghost tours again, and he's got a few cemetery tour here of Loudon, and the old part of Loudon tour, and each one's about an hour long.
You even get to see Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis even shows up. It's a guy dressed as Elvis. It's kind of all in kind of good fun, but you get to hear a lot of history of Loudon itself, and because this was actually a Cherokee reservation. This whole part of Loudon was Pathkiller was his reservation here, and so you get to hear a lot of that stuff. But we have been invited to 2 different places that's purportedly pretty haunted. Matter of fact, one of the stories is in our book, and or one of the places is in our book, but the other place is in his tour, and the owner of the place is contacting him to contact us because they're wanting us to go in and investigate the place because they're having some crazy stuff that started happening. It's supposedly been haunted, but they're saying that it's getting to another level. And so we've been invited to go and do some stuff there. So I'm kind of excited to get to do both of those places here pretty soon.
I haven't been invited anywhere yet. I'm hoping that we get enough of a name for ourselves where people start inviting us to places that not usually opens up to the public or anything. Because I that's kind of what I want to do. I want to get these unique stories, and I want to get a better understanding.
Well, and that's along those lines right there. I think that, look, it's great to get to go to a lot of these other places and stuff that everybody and their mama's been to, and you could pay $5,000. You and your 8 friends could get to go and stay the night there. But at the same time, it's cool. But these places that don't let anybody else in, that are in these small towns like Loudon and stuff like that, those are the places I think that you get your best results because, I think that some places could get imprinted by us. And there's been studies that's shown where we can imprint things upon a place, inadvertently or not, actually imprint things upon a place. And they've done studies after studies after studies on these things where people won't even go into a place. It's never been, no one's ever went in there and done any investigations. And for like a week before, they'll say, well, we think, and they'll make up a whole whatever on what's going to happen when they get there, the name of the people that's going to come across voice boxes and all kinds of stuff. Then they get there and guess what? It happens exactly that way because they've imprinted it on there. And I think that you could go to some of these really big places and there's probably real stuff that happens, but then what happens to the things that, say, the owners of the place are like, oh, this place is demons all in it, and you get scratched and you get all these other things. Well, before maybe there was some stuff that was going on, but now all of a sudden there's some crazy stuff that goes on because they're imprinting this extra stuff on there,
Yeah.
I think it's crazy.
It's definitely crazy. I just love when people, like, I know that's where his intention. I just love when people brand the word demon to get people to show up.
Well, that happens way too much in doing this stuff because that makes people's eyeballs pop.
Oh yeah.
demon, and we had, what was his name? Dr. Christopher Macklin? No, it was Dr. Terrible. Richard Gallagher. Yeah. And he is a board certified psychologist that's been on the show, and he wrote a book called wasn't it
I forget the
Demons
name of
Among
it.
Us or something? I
Yeah,
forgot the name.
Demons Among Us.
I think it was something like that. It's bad. I feel terrible about not hitting his book right, but it's definitely in our playlist. I would suggest it. But what's funny is that the Vatican and all these places call him to make sure that people aren't just crazy, that there's really a possession, an oppression, or something going on, right? And he says even people who believe that they're possessed, right? He said less than 1% of anything that is reported is that very thing, is actually a possession of any kind. He says it's probably an oppression or something like that that's going on, but a possession is so rare that it is less than 1%. And this guy does thousands a year for the Vatican. I mean, he goes all over the world for the Vatican and stuff and does these things. And he says it's less than 1%. So you're right. People throw that on there just as the scare factor or the clickbait. It's clickbaity.
Oh yeah. And I do like, so, and it goes both ways too, because there's some places that we've gone to, and I like going to these places that cost money too. I love the small towns. I love the places that don't cost money and it's not very well heard of. I love those places too. I think they're my favorite. But I like these places that do cost money because I love the aesthetic of them. I also love learning the history because most of them come with tours. But it goes both ways on the part of, we went to this one place and they told us if we say the word demon on a camera, they will basically cease and desist us.
Wow.
And, they don't want to be like with any demons. Yes, we have spirits, we have this, but if you say the word demon, you're done. And I said, well, I mean, if you have one, you have one. If you don't, you don't. From my experience, 9 times out of 10, it's most likely not. I think the only place I've ever truly felt that there was a demon was Brushy Mountain. Like me getting tossed from the thing, I don't think it was a demon. Everyone's telling me, "Oh, that was a poltergeist. That was a demon." I said, "Well, those are basically the same thing. A poltergeist is a type of demon, but I don't feel like that was." And everyone's like, "How do you had scratches and didn't?" I just think it was an angry spirit. We all wake up on the wrong side of the bed every once in a while.
Yep. And who's to say that it's not one of the thousands of people that were murdered there?
Yeah.
And look, they're just not a good person in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, not everyone's rainbows and sunshines. I mean,
Right.
if Matt was here, he's a little bit more blunt than me. So you would see that little side of him versus happy me.
Right. No,
but I like I said, the only place I actually truly felt harm and danger really was Brushy Mountain, but that was a different beast because of what's happened there and who has been there and what has occurred there.
Right. Yeah, I want to go. I'm sitting there a minute ago, talking about some of these big places and stuff like that. I've always wanted to go to Brushy Mountain. Some point, Jason and I will go. We've just not done it yet, but it's something that's on a bucket list for sure. But at the same time, they're wanting a pretty ridiculous amount of money to go and investigate.
And it's raised from 2 years ago.
Has it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forget. I think it was like for 6 people. It was like $600 or something like that.
Yeah, that's only for a 4-hour tour there.
Yeah, and the time was longer at that time too.
Yeah,
it was like $600, and you got from like 7 to midnight. Cool, awesome. And then the 12, and now it's like the 6 people. It's like 10 to 2.
Yeah.
Or you do the 12 one for $17.50, and you get from like 7 to 4 o'clock in the morning.
You get 8 hours on that second.
Yeah. With 12 people, which if you can get 12 people, not bad. But
yes,
I don't know 12 people that want to go out to a prison with me.
Right. I've been on the daytime tour. Which
I haven't done the daytime yet. I've only done the night.
Yeah, the daytime tour is pretty cool. They've actually got some people that were inmates there that are tour guides and stuff, and actually talk about some of the stuff and things like that, which is really neat. It gives you an insight that
Yes, I
that you
love
don't
that
get
about
just
them.
anywhere. Yeah, yeah, it's insane. So
But I just love that prison aesthetic too. And I told Matt this. I said even if something doesn't happen, the pictures that we get, I just love how they come out like aesthetically. I just love
yeah,
the old and that prison hasn't been closed very long, but it's looked like it's been abandoned for 200-300 years. It's just
right.
it hasn't aged well.
Well, it was built by the inmates too.
What was
Uh,
it? I
yes,
didn't know.
yes, it was built by the inmates. It was built in the 1800s, in the late 1800s, and it was built by the inmates. They made them build that. The main first part of that building was all built by the inmates, and they had them working in the coal mines. And so they were forced labor coal mine working. But what was happening is that the other coal miners that were regular coal miners, it was putting them out of work. So those coal miners actually came in with guns and everything. And it was shortly after they stopped the coal mining part of the prison, because there was a big riot over it.
Oh yeah.
And so, but yeah, that main part of the prison was all built by the inmates.
There's two places I want to investigate there that they'll never ever let us investigate, and that's the coal mine itself because I guess it collapsed some point and there's a bunch of people that actually died and they weren't able to get the bodies out. I would love to go to that area at least and investigate over there. And then I also want to go into I think it's Cell Block C where or Sparky was, but they
Yes.
have that one welded shut from the inside.
Hmm.
They said the lady who was doing our tour at the time, she said it's because that so much stuff happened there. It was starting to harm people and everything. I'm like, well, that's where I want to go.
Right.
They're like, well, you were getting growled at, scratched at. People were getting like shoved and pushed, and
Right.
they were coming out burned. And I went, that's where I want to go. That
Yeah,
that place right there.
what gets me is it's funny because out in the rec yard, there was thousands of people murdered and killed in that rec yard. Thousands. But I don't know if anybody ever goes out to the rec yard and does any of that. I never see it. I always see people in the buildings, no one in the rec yard. And there was time after time after time again where we're just there was these big things that would happen, and tons of people got killed out in those rec yards at a time. And so, I think that would be a good place to hit too.
I don't think personally we've been to the rec yard. So where they told us that a lot of the activity was right in the cafeteria. So at the
Got a lot
first
of
few
walking.
times we went straight there,
Yeah.
and they have you haven't been on the night investigation, but they have these chains that don't let you go up to the third or fourth floor. They said
Ooh,
you're not allowed to go anywhere that there's chains.
gotcha.
Okay, cool. Well, we
All
were
right.
walking, the chain was up. We heard something fall. We turned around, chain wasn't up anymore. Well,
Mm.
chain wasn't up. We went up there. And we went into the area where I guess it was the theater room and where the many people were massacred during the one big riot. And
Yeah.
that's where I met Robert, and that's where a lot of stuff happened. We were getting a lot of hits. Motion
Yeah.
sensors were going off, music box was going off, our spirit box was going, everything was going off, and it was like, okay,
Wow.
cool, this is where we're staying for the rest of the night.
Yeah. 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 There's a lot of places there that are, I've watched some of these TV shows and stuff where people are in a lot of those different places, and there's quite a few places that are pretty haunted inside that prison.
Now, I think it's a little overrated, especially for the price, but it's still a really cool place to go.
Right. Well, that's another thing too. You're going to pay that price and you're not guaranteed that you're going to catch anything, and you never are doing this,
Yeah.
hobby.
Expect you to watch the time and come out. If they have to come get you, they're a little mad.
So what's your best investigation you've done where you've got the most evidence?
I have to, other than that Essie's method at the Wheatlands, I would have to say it's that schoolhouse in the national park. That place, I mean, it's spread out, but that basically that night I was thrown. it had to be one of our best investigations. What's it called? A lot of things happened. I can't think of the word right now. I had completely mind blanked. but that night I got thrown. I got scratched. I have a music box motion sensor that plays a creepy song when there's motion in front of it. That was going off. I have these little motion puck lights. I put one out on the tree stump out on the left, and then there was another one. I was able to kind of set it up on the bark halfway up the tree, and it didn't move. They were going off as we were hearing things circle the school. Like things were coming up to the door and shaking it. That was when we were getting the black eyed kids. And I think I sent you guys the picture. We went to the cemetery. And we took that one guy that wasn't really a believer who described the black eyed kid. And he's standing in the cemetery, and right next to him there's a child that we didn't see until later. And we've gone back and tried to figure out if that's like a stone or something, and it's not even part of the fence. But there was a whole kid standing right next to him.
Hold on.
Yeah, let me pull it up. I can
he,
pull it up and
he
show
can
it.
show everybody this photo.
Let's see. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to send you guys a bunch of stuff, but the email wouldn't let me. It was like, yeah, you can't send this. And I was like, why not?
Yeah, we're going to have to start. We're going to have to do a Dropbox for Paranormal 411, Jason.
Mm-hmm.
So then people could send us, because Dropbox allows you to send huge files, all kinds of stuff through Dropbox. That gives us something else that we need to do. So, because in that way, it'll allow you to send whatever you have that you want us to show or whatever. And, is that it in the center there, Jason? Oh, you found it. Never mind. Yeah, Dropbox is awesome.
Let me see if I can show this.
Okay. There you go. You're getting even better at this, Jason.
Right.
Okay. So walk us through the picture.
All right. So obviously, we have our friend Harrison in the green shirt there. And what's over his eyes, that's just his flashlight, almost guaranteed. Now, if you go to the right, almost into the center of that, right about there, it looks like a child standing right next to him. You can see where the fence is supposed to crack down the middle. You can see almost everywhere where it's supposed to.
Right.
But yeah, you can see the head, the shoulders.
And then what I'm not 100% sold on it myself, but when I was at the Bigfoot conference and I showed the Area 52 guy, there's actually a little bit of light above him, and he said that's a perfect circular orb.
Wow.
He said if it was a reflection off of something, it wouldn't be a perfect circle.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
But that was the night I got tossed and everything too.
Yeah. Yeah, we seen the video and it was, you couldn't fake that.
Like I said,
no
if
way.
it tells me how I faked it, I would love to know, because that chiropractor bill was pretty expensive.
It actually did it twice, right?
Yes, the second time I laid back down after regaining myself a little bit, and they met and we were talking about like, hey, we don't think it's a good idea to leave right now. Let's chill out, lay back down, and see if we can get it again. We're gonna move the camera so it could see it. And I was laying there, and all of a sudden, you could see me like tensing up and everything the whole time, getting ready for it. And I'm like, okay, it's not gonna happen again. He used all of his energy, and as soon as I calm down, I get thrown.
Uh-oh.
And that place is really cool. I try to keep the name to a minimum. Like, you can figure out where I'm at if you're to the area and you know what I'm talking about. But I started talking about Elkmont on all these podcasts I've been on, and people started going there, and that place is ramped up. But the one time we went there, I've seen people with like Ouija boards and other things. And obviously, these people, not to judge them, but to judge them. They didn't know what they were doing. I mean,
Right.
and that place was ramped up so much where we gave it a break.
Right.
So I try to keep that one onto the ground because, you know, we go there, but we don't want other people showing up and then desecrating it also.
Right.
Yeah, Susan says the Elkmont cemeteries are very creepy also.
Yes, and we haven't had much at the cemetery there, the newer one or the older one, but I love going up there. I was up there actually up there for the first time during the day the other day. It was really cool to see.
So do you think these people that's bringing the Ouija boards and stuff, that they might have opened up something that
Me and Matt have talked about it for hours. I don't think they really watched our videos or anything, but I mean, there's some of my TikTok videos that get thousands of views and it's about Elkmont or something like that. And I say Elkmont and then they go.
Yeah.
And then, or, you know, like I was walking around Elkmont the other day and somebody said, I recognize you from somewhere. And I said, I hunt ghosts here. And he goes, that's where I saw you from. So that's kind of cool that I get recognized, but also it's like, okay, cool. People recognize me. They're coming to these places, but they're also trying stuff to see if I'm telling the truth or not, but I don't think they're doing it the right way.
Right.
Which I can't tell you what to do. I can't stop you from going anywhere. But, you know, there's a right way and a wrong way of doing things, in my opinion.
Yeah, we've actually done a whole show on that.
Yeah.
So, there is a right and a wrong way to do any kind of investigation like that.
And like I
You
said,
know?
that place has ramped up so
Well,
much.
Brooks, we got
Oh, good.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, like you said, Jason, people bringing Ouija boards and stuff, and I'm not against using things like that if you know how to do it properly, because there
Right.
is a proper technique and proper methods on doing these things. When I was younger, I messed with one once before, and I didn't know, and and some crazy stuff happened. But you know, there is proper techniques on how to use them, how to open them, and how to close them properly. So then everything's closed after you're done. If you don't know how to properly close a Ouija board, then what you're doing is you're, for all intents and purposes, leaving that open for anything to just start coming through, you know,
Yeah.
and bleeding through and stuff. So it is a pretty cool tool, but at the same time, it's got to be used properly too, just like any other, you know, tool.
Yeah, and I am not knowledgeable about Ouija boards at all, and we don't touch them. We don't
Right.
want to put
Well,
that risk on anybody.
well, that's the thing though, is that that's one of the rules in doing this is first rule, know your tools, know how to use them, know how they work, because if you can't properly use the tools, then you're not going to be able to properly, you know, do what you came there to do. So, you know, if you get a new tool, a new whatever, and you've never used it before, play with it, mess with it, learn how it works, then go use it in an investigation. You
Yes.
know, don't just open up the box and turn it on. And say,
Right,
well,
right
you
there
know,
on camera.
yeah, you know, let's see how this works.
I
It's
think that's
not
working right.
doing nothing.
Yeah. Well, when we went on our last investigation, and Susan, you know, and Eddie came and they turned on that dead bell. It's like a
Yeah.
bell, you know, that you use.
I want one.
That thing, man. We wasn't even inside the location yet. We was outside getting our equipment ready, and it was like ping, ping, ping. And she's like, I've played with this at the house and it never did nothing. This is the first time I've ever heard it do anything. And that was just the start of that night. It was
Yeah.
2 hours of just nonstop action. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. So
We got about 5 minutes. If you want to give out your information again,
yes.
and people where they can find you and where they can watch your videos.
Yes.
Yeah, we are the Smokies Unforgotten Spirits on all platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, basically anywhere that is social media. We are on it. I'm more active on Facebook and TikTok. I'm getting better at Instagram though. So that's the best way to get in touch with me or see our stuff.
Awesome.
Yes.
And so if people might actually accidentally see you, it's because they're in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge area, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. That's where we met you. Well, you said at the beginning of the show, you know, at the Bigfoot conference and all that stuff. So it was awesome.
Yes. Yeah, no, and if you're ever back in the area, we can come on down to one of our locations with us.
Oh man.
The Elkmont.
All you have to do is say when, because Jason and I are off most weekends, pretty much almost all weekends. So
we usually go out Sundays. So if there's a Sunday that you guys are bored, just get in touch with me.
okay, we're up for it.
Oh yeah.
That sounds like fun to me.
Yeah, we might be going out tomorrow. I don't know. I haven't really talked to Matt yet.
Right.
Maybe next time when you come on, we can get Matt here too.
Yeah, hopefully too, because he has what we something that gets us a little bit. We try to be unique from other groups, and I didn't say anything because it's more his thing since it's his bird. But we have a paranormal parrot that we attempt to use as a spirit box every once in a while.
Oh,
Because
awesome.
it's a parrot that repeats a lot of stuff that it hears. And we took her to Kate's Cove, and it was a pretty cool night.
Eddie says you need to come to Legends and Lore.
You get in touch with me. I'll definitely.
Yeah, that's Eddie owns the Legends and Lore Pizzeria there in Madisonville, Tennessee.
Okay, yeah. My wife actually told me that I've been wanting to go there for a while.
If you like pizza, and he has more than that, wings and all that stuff.
I'm a big pizza critic, being from Northeast Pennsylvania. So I'm a big pizza critic. I haven't had a good pizza in Tennessee yet. So.
Oh yeah, you're about to be amazed because I'm telling you, it's the best. But other than that, though, Eddie is a seasoned investigator.
Okay.
Very seasoned investigator. What makes his place unique is that the walls are lined with photos of all the places he's hunted and stuff, and all the different stuff he's done. Besides all the cryptid stuff that's in there too. But yeah, and if you could tear him out of the kitchen for a minute, he could fill your ears full of all kinds of stories. We had them on a few weeks back, wasn't it, Jason? They did a 2-hour show with us, and I will tell you, Eddie and Susan, his wife Susan, they have tons of stories. Yeah, it's amazing.
Awesome. Well,
yeah,
I'm gonna go become friends with them. That sounds awesome. I definitely need to go now.
Yes, you need to go for sure.
All right, we're gonna get this thing wrapped up. We got like 20 seconds.
All right, brother. Well, you have a good night. Have a good weekend, and thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. It was awesome.
Yes, sir. We'll do it again sometime.
100%.
All right. Bye.
Do your stuff.
Oh man. Hey, you can find us at paranormal411.org, Paranormal 411 on Facebook, YouTube, and X. You can tune in live every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, and Saturdays from 8 to 10. Remember, also on Saturday nights from 10 to 11, if you're in the metro Atlanta area, you catch us at WDJY FM. That's 99.1 FM. Now, listeners outside of Atlanta, you go to WDJYFM.com or click the link on our website. We're also on Subspace Radio and all major podcast platforms. Don't miss our new book, East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore, Edition 2. It's beautiful. It's awesome. It's available on Amazon or at paranormal411.org. Remember, join us.
Join us.
Join us.
We see you next time.
See you next time.